Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Amelia Proclaims Liberty. Today, I thought we would talk about the various pro-choice slogans. We have all heard them and seen them, and we know the ones that are most popular. But do they really make sense, or are they part of a manipulation game? Well, today, I thought we would find out. So I asked ChatGPT what the 10 most popular pro-choice slogans are. We're going to break them down and do a little debunking. And then later on in the episode, we are going to talk about Furtick's most recent indiscretion. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. As I said in the intro, we are going to talk today about pro-choice slogans. As I said, I asked ChatGPT what those pro-choice slogans were in order of popularity. And don't worry, ChatGPT did not write this episode. I just used ChatGPT to ask what the most popular ones were. So let's get started. Number one is honestly not a shocker. It is my body, my choice. So let's break this down. This phrase has been popular since around the 1970s. And let's be honest, you can tell it's extremely stale and honestly so unscientific and so medically incorrect. Not to be crass, but if it was your body, you would be the one dying, not the precious baby inside of your womb. Number two, bans off our bodies. This one was made extremely popular in 2022 after the reversal of Roe versus Wade. Planned Parenthood used it in their national campaign to gather protesters to stand against the Supreme Court decision. Well, let's talk about Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood was founded in 1916 by a woman named Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger wanted to start Planned Parenthood to exterminate minority populations through supposed reproductive health care. And yes, this is factual. She said so many horrible things about wanting to exterminate people. And actually, Adolf Hitler of Nazi Germany looked up to her. She was a eugenicist, which means basically she wanted to, in her own mind, purify the gene pool. That is absolutely horrific. Why is she still praised by so many leftist politicians and media, and why is Planned Parenthood still around? Let's talk about the slogan itself, bans off our bodies. Again, it's not your body. The baby may be located inside of your body, but it's an entirely separate person. No one's trying to control your body. We're just trying to save the life of the precious baby inside of you. Number three, keep abortion safe and legal. Well, we know what legal means, but what about the safety of abortion? Does it sound safe to you for forceps or a very, very strong suction device to be inserted up into a woman's uterus? No, that doesn't sound safe at all. Not to mention, it's definitely not safe for the baby. So really, should it be legal? Number four, trust women. This is not about trusting women. This is about the baby should not be ripped apart in its mother's womb. Number five, abortion is healthcare. We're going to go on to number six and come back to number five, and you will see why. Number six, reproductive rights are human rights. This has got to be the poster child for gaslighting. Since when does a human right entail the slaughter of almost 70 million human beings? And I know some of you may be thinking, well, it's not a human being yet. It's just a blob of tissue or a clump of cells. Let's talk about that. From the moment of conception, an unborn baby has its own unique DNA, which is the genetic code that determines things like its hair color, eye color, personality, and gender, and countless other traits. The baby's heart begins to beat as early as 2.5 weeks after conception before you even know you're pregnant. At 6 weeks gestation, the baby has detectable brain waves, which means there is brain activity. And at 8 weeks gestation, your baby responds to touch. Now tell me again that it's not a human being. It is most definitely and scientifically proven to be a human being. Therefore, aborting that baby is not a human right. It's actually a human rights violation against that baby. One method of abortion entails ripping the arms and legs off of the baby with forceps or ripping it apart with a strong suction device. Another method entails inserting a needle into the baby's chest and putting a chemical inside of its heart called digoxin, which will induce cardiac arrest. This is barbaric. Does that sound like a human right to you or a human rights violation? Number 7, our bodies, our rights. Well, we've already established that it's a separate body and the baby has a right to live. Number 8, every child a wanted child. When I first read this one, I thought that sounds great. They're saying that every child should be wanted. But when I really read what it actually meant is only wanted children should be allowed to live. How does that make someone feel that was born into a less than ideal situation? It makes them feel like they should not exist. It basically means that if a baby is not wanted or expected, that you should just end its life. That is absolutely terrible. Number 9 is a doozy, and I love talking about it because it's honestly so ridiculous. It is no uterus, no opinion, but there's a caveat. Apparently, this only applies to pro-life men. Because did you know that over half of abortionists are men? A lot of the pro-choice clinic escorts are men. A lot of the pro-choice politicians are men. And what about the husbands and the boyfriends and the fathers that are pressuring or even coercing their wives or girlfriends or daughters into having abortions? And you don't have to be a female to know that it's wrong to kill other human beings. Number 10, abortion saves lives. Really think about this one. Considering what we have said about the humanity of unborn babies, someone always dies in an abortion. That's a terrible success rate. That's a 0% success rate. Not to mention all of the women that have been permanently injured or even killed from the invasive, violent, unnatural procedure of abortion. So does abortion really save lives? Well, these were the top 10 most popular pro-choice slogans. They may sound legitimate, and to some that are pro-choice, they may sound good. But do they really make sense? They don't. And honestly, it's just part of this manipulation and gaslighting game that they are playing because the abortion industry is just that, an industry for profit. And these people know that if abortion ever ends, so will the profit they make from it. So we must stand for life. We must speak about the horror of abortion. We must speak for these babies that have no voice. And we must fight to end abortion. Well, moving on to our next part of our show, we are going to talk about Stephen Furtick's most recent indiscretion. You probably have already seen the video, but I'm going to play it for you right now.
Children, I know every animal. Like a dude in the night. I know them all. Keep the beat going. Keep the beat going. I'm clapping. I'm praising. I feel like I just snorted cocaine or something. I'm so excited. And I never did that before. For the record. For the record. For the record. For the record. But I'm clapping my hands. All of a sudden, Abby started just to troll me. She started.
Wow, that is absolutely insane. My question is this a church service or stand-up comedy night at a bar? He is literally talking about sin from the platform at church while he's supposedly praising the Lord. Does that sound right to you? It shouldn't. Praising the Lord is a very serious thing. And yes, we absolutely can and should do it with joy and with love and with passion. But that's not what this is. This is a man who is using his place as a pastor and his platform to just be crude and to be carnal and fleshly and to literally talk about sin and doing it to get attention, to be funny, to be popular. And honestly, this just kind of looks like the Stephen Furtick show. This is not about praising the Lord. You know, in Exodus, when Moses saw the burning bush and found out that the Lord was inside the burning bush, what did God say to him? He said, "Take off thy shoes, for the ground wherein thou standest is holy ground." We see other times all throughout the Bible about people praising and worshiping God, but taking it seriously with the awe and the majesty of who God is. Think about it this way. If you went to go see the President of the United States, whatever you think about him or whatever president it was at whatever time in history, if you went to see any president, or maybe the Queen of England when she was alive, or another dignitary or a celebrity, would you go in to meet them and say, "I just feel like I snorted cocaine"? Of course you would not. You would treat them with respect, not because they're mean or you're afraid of them, but because you honor and respect their position. How much more should it be that way with the God of heaven, the King of heaven and earth, the creator of heaven and earth, our wonderful Savior that bled and died to pay the penalty of sin that we deserve to pay? We need to treat him with the awe and respect and honor that he deserves, not come before him with a flippancy and a reverence and a self-absorption. This is very sad, especially given the amount of people clapping and laughing at that, because what he is doing is getting people used to laughing at sin, and that is compromise, and that is not right. And he's doing so in the name of Jesus, which is another form of taking the Lord's name in vain. This is very heartbreaking. And how does it make people feel that maybe God brought them out of a life of drug addiction? How does that make them feel when their pastor says that as a joke when he's supposedly praising the Lord? This is very heartbreaking, and it should be a lesson that we need to get back to reverencing God, to taking worship seriously, and not coming before him with flippancy. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode today about pro-choice arguments and then about this indiscretion of Stephen Furtick. But listen, I want to leave you with this thought. Sometimes we look at these things like the pro-choice arguments or just crazy things that pastors say or people that disappoint us, and we get discouraged. People will always disappoint us. There will always be lies just circulating widely in this world. But we can have faith in this. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He will never change. He will never disappoint us. He will never lie to us. And whenever we hear a lie or we see something that discourages us or disappoints us, we can open the pages of the Bible and see what truth is and have him guide us. And we can also come before him in prayer and tell him all of these things, and he will give us clarity and peace of mind, and he will guide us. He is the rock, the foundation on which our faith is planted. He is the author and finisher of our faith. We do not have to be afraid of being disappointed by him because he never will disappoint us. Base your faith off of him and not upon other people. And base your beliefs and your worldview and truth off of him, because in him is truth. And he is the way, the truth, and the life, as John 14:6 says. So I just wanted to leave you with that encouragement today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Amelia Proclaims Liberty.